welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a first impression wear test on this foundation here. This is the Rituel De Fille 3-drop Weightless Serum Foundation. I saw this launch and I was just instantly intrigued by it. I love a serum foundation. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a wear test. So you'll be seeing me apply this foundation as well as doing a 4-hour check-in outside in natural daylight, inserting in some swatches, comparing this shade. I have the shade 120 to some other shades in my collection. And then finally, just an end of day check-in, showing you just what the foundation looks like after 8 to 10 hours and my overall first impression thoughts. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, if you love foundation videos. But with all that out of the way, let's get started with the application portion of this video. All right, so I have all of my skincare on. It's been on for a few hours now, I think, because I've been procrastinating a little bit doing my makeup. But let's just get started. I'm not gonna do any primer just because I never do primer when doing a foundation wear test for the first time. And especially since this is a oil-based foundation, I don't wanna mess with this too much and really give it its full chance. Now, I picked up the shade 120, which is light with cool pink undertones. It does come in 24 shades and it retails for $42. Here is what the bottle looks like. Now, this is supposed to provide a medium coverage with 3 drops. It is called the 3-drop Weightless Serum Foundation. So if you want less coverage, you can use less drops. And it's supposed to give a natural glowy finish. Now, I do have normal leaning dry skin, and right now it's pretty humid out. I wouldn't say it's always humid, but it has been raining like crazy. It does not feel like summer around here, which is why I'm wearing my sweatshirt. But let's just give this a shot. Hopefully the shade match is okay. It looks all right. Now, I'm gonna apply this with fingertips because that's what they say, even though that's not usually my preferred method. And I don't know if I wanna start with 3 drops. I think I'm gonna just start with 2. And it is quite liquidy. I barely had a push on the bottom. I'm just gonna kind of rub it in and apply. It definitely feels like an oil texture, very similar to the Kosas face oil. And I do like that foundation. I just have a hard time with the oil part because you do have to be very careful with the type of primer that you use. For 2 drops, this did a decent amount of coverage. I don't know if I would call this medium though, maybe light medium. 3 drops seems like very little. The shade is perfect though. Thankfully, it looks like it matches perfect. Again, I have the shade 120. I think maybe I'm gonna apply 2 more. That'll be 4 drops, but let's just see. And I'm not even pressing this, by the way, so it's just dropping without me having to press the button, which it wasn't pouring out, but it definitely was coming out. So I don't know how secure the packaging is. I don't know if I would travel with this, is what I'm getting at. But I'm gonna make sure to blend this down. It is looking like it's sitting on top of my skin, just like right in between my forehead, right here. So I'm gonna take my sponge and pounce it in. Maybe 4 drops was too many. I should have followed the instructions. I'm gonna see if I can just kind of press it in, soak up a little bit of the product. I still wouldn't call this medium coverage though. I would probably term this a light medium. Still not loving how this looks so far. I don't know, it's just not, it's not sitting on top of my skin anymore, but I feel like I took away all the coverage because the sponge soaked it up. I don't know. It looks better, but I have like sheer coverage foundations that just look better than this. I don't know. I'm gonna see how this wears. I don't know if I want a powder or not. Maybe just a little because it If this was every day, I would powder it. But like I said, it's definitely sheer light coverage. I'll give it light coverage because like you can still see some like blemishes I have here, some redness on my cheeks. It's not covering too much. I could see some people may be liking this. I have to see how this wears for sure. Maybe once natural oils come in, it'll be better. But let's now move on to the eye soots. I have two here and I have no idea what they look like. I haven't even swatched them yet. So let's see what kind of like eye look I can do with them. And then I'll finish up the rest of my makeup and give just like my first impression thoughts so far before the wear test. So I have the shades Half Light and Cultist. Now these retail for $39, quite expensive for a single shadow. I'm pretty positive I used an affiliate code when placing my order. I'll link it down below. I believe I used Teresa's Dead's code. So here is what Half Light is looking like so far. They're both taupe shades. I got pretty neutral shades, but this has more of like a brown taupe. And then Cultist, I couldn't decide between the two. It's gonna be more of a cool taupe. They are darker than I was expecting. I think I was expecting to kind of use this and then this to spotlight, but they're both pretty dark. Hopefully I can sheer them out a little bit. I am going to use my fingers. It says to use a finger or they have like a special design brush and I don't want to do that. Now I will say, because I don't have nails on right now, I can use my finger, but this is a small opening. So if I had nails on like I normally do, I'm just giving my nails a break, this would be tough. So I think for today, I'm gonna go in with Cultist. Now it's a lot harder than I was expecting. It's supposed to be a cream to powder formula, but I was expecting more cream. I was expecting almost like a Charlotte Tilbury texture, but this feels just kind of like a single shadow. I think I'm gonna place this down on the lid and maybe blend it with a brush. Let's see here. This is just an old MAC brush. The letter's worn away, so I can't tell you which one it is, but I usually like this one for creams. It's a lot stiffer and dense, so it really just like blends out the creams like I want it to. It's a pretty shade. I don't know if this is like an innovative formula. I'm not seeing too much of a difference between this and like another single shadow. It is nice. I like the color. I'm gonna keep this. It's just a one and done. That looks nice. Nothing really special, I don't think. I'm gonna try it with the brush on the other side, just since I have my brush out. And I did not use primer. And it does say on their website that they don't recommend using a eye primer that doesn't set down or concealer, to use a primer that sets down if you're going to use an eyeshadow primer. But I thought, just try it without primer. The brush makes it a lot more sheer, as you can see. I like it without the brush more, honestly, just for a one and done. Can I kind of sheer this out a little? That's Cultist applied to both lids. Very sheer, just blend it out, one shadow look. I do like it. Nothing like blowing my mind, but it's pretty. I could see people with a certain aesthetic liking this. Now, the foundation actually does feel like it's set down a little bit more than it did. But I'm going to apply concealer, put on bronzer, blush, highlight, just to finish up the rest of my makeup. And then I'll kind of just be back to talk about my first impression thoughts so far. Here's a closer look at the makeup now that I have everything finished. I will have it all listed down in the description box below, but I try to keep it very minimal. I used only cream products, bronzer, blush, highlight. I didn't even apply the shadow to my lower lash line, and I didn't even use concealer. I used a little bit of a color corrector, and then I did use powder just under my eyes, my chin, and the middle of my brows to kind of control oil, see how that goes. But now that you've seen the final look, let me scoot you out, kind of just talk about my first impressions. I don't think it comes to anyone's surprise that right now I'm just underwhelmed. This is going to go one of two ways. The only thing that can save this right now is if it wears really well and looks better throughout the day. It's not that it looks bad, it just looks average, and I want something better than that for $42. So I'm gonna see how this goes. I'll check in around the 4-hour mark. Right now it's around noon. So in about 4 hours, 4 o'clock, I'll take you outside with whatever natural daylight there is with the sun and show you what it looks like outside in natural daylight. Then I'll insert in some swatches and come back at the end of the day and give my overall final first impression thoughts. But yeah, right now this is just 50-50. I'm not hating it, but I'm just not impressed. So let's just see where this goes, and I'll see you all in 4 hours. All right, it's 4 o'clock. The foundation serum's been on for about 4 hours now, and here's what it's looking like. It does, you know, on camera, like you can really just see all my texture. However, when I looked inside before filming this, it looked better. So I will give it that. It's still not my favorite, but if it was a 5 when I put it on, it's at least now a 6 or 7 now. So it's improving. I don't feel like it's emphasizing my pores. You know, you can still see my natural texture. That's fine. It's not going to erase my texture or anything like that. You can still see my forehead line. It's not settling in there, but it's not flattering it at all. So this is not a winner in my book as of yet. I was able to get outside. It stopped raining so far for about 10 minutes. It'll probably start again. Just like a gloomy July. I keep seeing weather reports everywhere that there's heat waves, and over here, not so much. I can't get the rain to stop, but I'm gonna see what the next 4 or 5 hours does, see if this wears down at all. It's not breaking up. If anything, like my natural oils just kind of made it settle more. It is a lot more dewy than it was upon application. Again, I only powdered under my eyes, my chin, and in between my forehead. So I would agree with the claim that it's more of a natural glow, leaning on the glow side just a little bit. So I think that claim is good. And maybe the coverage has upped itself. I don't know how that could be possible, but it kind of does feel like or look like the foundation has a little bit more coverage than when I applied it, but maybe it's just the lighting out here. I'm not sure. Anyways, this is where I'm going to leave you all. I'm going to insert in swatches now, and I will see you in about 4 or 5 hours. All right, end of the day, it's past 9 o'clock, it's late, I'm tired, and you know, I just can't decide how I feel about this foundation. Like, I feel like when I did the check-in on my forehead, you could really see my forehead wrinkle, and like now I'm not seeing it as much. This definitely is a foundation that looks better as time goes on. It looks so nice right now. If this looked like this in the beginning, I'd be much more inclined to give this a good first impression, but part of me is just wondering if I want to like it, because I purchased this wanting to like it. I had high hopes for it, so I'm just undecided. I think I need to test this out more. This is one that I just need to try out a few different ways with the primer, with powder. Like, does it look good right now, or has it just faded? It's hard for me to tell. Like, that's where I'm at. It does, you know, my skin looks nice. It looks nice right now for 9+ hours. I can't complain about how my makeup looks. Like, none of my cream products stayed. My mascara is running a little bit, but I would be happy with this after 9 hours. So that's kind of just where I am right now. I don't know if this is worth $42. Like, maybe wait for them to do a sale, or something like that. This is nice, but I will need to just test it out more, try it a few different ways, and then talk about this in a foundation roundup. I do always come back with any first impressions and just talk about it a little bit more once I've had some time to really get my final thoughts on them. These eye soots, I only tried one of the two. And again, just like lackluster for what I wanted. Now, I do think that this is a really pretty one and done shade, but the current style of my makeup right now, I'm just wanting more. This would have been something 5 years ago where when I was working a retail job, I had to be quick. I didn't have a lot of time in the morning to work my very long days. I would have loved something like this. I think it's put together, it's quick, it's easy, but right now I'm just wanting more out of my eyeshadow looks. So this isn't something that I think I'll be reaching for. It's also just pretty pricey. Again, $39 for a single shadow. I mean, that's on par with some luxury brands. Even was that the same price as a Charlotte Tilbury Pop Shot. So yeah, that's kind of where I just stand on this. I think it's a little bit overpriced for what it is. I do know that they're a small indie brand made in Los Angeles, and that's accounting for some of the costs. They don't really have the budget to mass produce like some of these luxury brands. So their profit margin's probably a little bit smaller. I am taking that in consideration, but from where I'm sitting, my point of view, I don't know if it's worth the price tag personally for me, although I'm not super disappointed. I hope that makes sense. That's kind of where I'm at with this. You'll have to let me know if you've tried this brand at all. This was my first time trying it, introduction. I know that they came out with some lip products recently. This was a little bit difficult for me to purchase in France, so I don't think I'll be picking up the lip products anytime soon. It might be something that I'll just put on my list where when I travel to the US, I'll grab some then, but for now it's not important enough for me to make the trouble of them shipping it out and paying taxes and all that. Anyways, let me know what your experience with this brand is, if any, if this brand kind of intrigues you, if you like the aesthetic. Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments, but this is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.